Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing talk session dedicated to game development of this edition of 2021 of IndieX. It's a pleasure having here with me the lead development. Sorry, Fernand, I forgot your title. Can you say it? Can you say it
Yeah, I'm the
yourself?
development leads of Faithful Pool in
Yeah.
Miniclip.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Hey, for us, it's an honor to have uh, such a for the Portuguese landscape. It's such an important company as Miniclip, and having you as a partner in this event, and of course in this day dedicated to game development for Miniclip, bringing some of your own insight and your experience to shine in this IndieX 2021. Fernando, do you want to dive in our presentation? I know you prepared some really cool insights on the challenges of a mobile games developer for us today. Do you want to dive
Yeah,
in?
yeah, let's go, let's go.
Let's go.
So, guys, can I start? Can I?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so guys, I bring you some of my experience in Miniclip. Of course, I cannot talk about everything. I will try to make this in 45 minutes. Not gonna be easy. I hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed building it for you. So let's dive in. So I work for Miniclip, this amazing company that Ricardo was just describing. And I want to give you an introduction of the company before we start talking about those challenges. So, Miniclip has a mission. Miniclip has a mission to become and unleash the gamer in everyone. We want to do this mainly through mobile, but we have also other platforms because everybody has a mobile phone. Not everybody has a computer, not everybody has a console, but actually everybody, almost everybody, well, let's not say everybody, almost everybody has a mobile phone. And right now we have more than 250 million monthly active users across all the platforms we actually support right now. So Miniclip now is more than a company. We are a group of companies, and we are a game developer and a publisher. So this is very important because we are now in 8 countries. We have 13 offices, 12 studios in those 13 offices, 903 employers, 41 games in our portfolio, 60 million daily active users in 195 countries, and 750 million downloads in 220. So it's a lot of numbers to take in. So Miniclip Group is composed of internal development and studios that Miniclip acquired. In the left, you have the Miniclip internal development studios. I belong to MPT, which how we call it is the Lisbon, Portuguese studio. But you also have other companies that we already acquired. And in this image, you can see in blue the internal development companies that Miniclip have and where they are located, and in red the other companies that we acquired. So these are the logos for those companies and the Miniclip group. As you can see, you might know some. I hope you do. They do very amazing games, as all Miniclip does. So those games are very diverse. We have games in midcore, in sports, in casual, and in puzzle categories. But me talking about those games, it's quite boring. So I prepared for you a video. I hope you enjoy. Careful with the sound, it's quite loud, but I hope you enjoy it. Não te estou a ouvir, Ricardo. Ah, ok. Ok, ok. Tem que ser porque nós temos. Nós não falamos. Okay, so here we have the games. I hope you had fun with it because we sure had a lot of fun building them. So a little bit more story about Miniclip. So Miniclip is the undisputed leader of a sports category in mobile games, as you can see. And we also are one of the top 10 publishers worldwide with more than 750 million downloads overall. So about our audience, as the numbers on the right, we already spoke about it. 70% of our audience is male, 30% is female, and the core age is between 18 years old to 35, which means we're talking about already adult people. Um, this was about Miniclip. I try to resume it as fast as I can. Of course, there's a lot more to talk about Miniclip. If you want to know more, you know where you can find us. So this presentation itself and why you're here is to listen about the challenges of a mobile games developer. I'm going to talk you first about me a little bit, so you know me a little bit better as well, so you understand the challenges I bring you. So who am I? I'm Fernando Fonseca. I work for Miniclip for almost 7 years. One of the perks about working for Miniclip is that they give you this amazing caricature when you make 5 years and then some later on, which I didn't receive yet, but I'm looking forward for it. I'm a game developer, of course, and I also like to play electric guitar. I used to play more. I used to have a band as well. Now I am a father and I have kids to take care of. I have less time, and now I play paddle, and I actually play paddle with people from Miniclip, which is very fun. That's one of the reasons I really like Miniclip. And of course, like all of you, I love video games, and I also like soccer, which is very common in Portuguese people. Before I was a game developer, I was actually a researcher, and I was exploring three-dimensional interactions with objects above stereoscopical tables. As you can see here, this was my master thesis. And after that master thesis, I actually explored experience in museums, using and exploring and keep investing on those interactions above the table. The picture is not great, but you get the idea. So, as a game developer, these are the projects I can talk about. There are more, but I can't. But I published Blook. It was a self-published game. I did it with some friends, like most of you. I self-published it more than 9 years ago. It's on the stores. You can look it out. Honestly, don't do it. It's not very good. It was at the time, at least for me. I was young. Then I did E50, which was a serious game to collect human driving behavior data at scale. And this was to understanding eco driving practices from the people that use the application or the game. It was a serious game. And then I worked for 8-Ball Pool for web, for mobile, for an Apple iMessenger, and any other forks that honestly I don't even need to mention. So um, what I'm playing right now, I think this also makes a background of me. On mobile on the left, I have Epic 7. I play it every day for more than 2 years. I'm a fan of the game. I started playing Guardians of the Galaxy. And with my friends, now I play Warzone. I really enjoy it. For us, is we have an amazing time. We have a blast. So in Miniclip, who am I? So I work for almost 7 years in 8-Ball Pool. If we put it into perspective, that's a lot of time. We're talking about a quarter of my life, almost a quarter of my life. That's more time than I know some of my friends. So I know this product very well, and right now I'm the development lead, as Ricardo was trying to present me. So as the development lead, I'm responsible to make sure that the product, the client side, and the team has everything they need in order to produce the best product possible. So instead of explaining you what is 8-Ball Pool, I brought you a video. Pool is actually now on the Guinness Book, and this video is to show you that. It's just some bragging rights, but it's also a fun video. So check it out. And there you have it. Oh, sorry. So, about the challenges, the topic of the Miniclip. So now you know me, now you know the product I work for and Miniclip. Now let's talk about the challenges. And the challenges we face in a product that it's mature on the market. It's not a new product, it's a product that has 10 years. So, first, for you to have an idea of the dimension of we are talking about, we're talking about a product that daily has more than 10 million users. In the COVID time, we actually peaked in more than 18 million users, which is a lot of people in order to keep the game running. So 10 years, we support both web, mobile, and Messenger. We have other forks for Facebook Messenger, for example. We have tons of features, as you might imagine, 10 years of building features, a huge code base, and we have more than 16 developers right now only on the client side. So the game that the app that you actually have in your device working in the same code every single day. So there's a lot of things here that can go wrong, as you can imagine. And but we always have to guarantee these four things, and these four things will help you understand a little bit the challenges I also bring you later. So the first thing is it needs to be seamless switching between devices. What do I mean by this? I can be playing in my iPad in my home. I need to leave. I can pick up my phone and I'm right away playing the same game I was without having to wait a lot of time or whatever. I just need to jump in into my game and keep going into the metro and whatever. So, by the way, these emotes that you see on the right, there are animated emotes in Pool. Honestly, I didn't have enough time to put them in animated here as well, but they are all from Pool. So you can find them inside the game. The app needs to be very fast. So if you want the people to switch seamlessly between devices or even between apps, when you send the app to the background and it comes back, it needs to be very fast resuming the game because you don't want to lose your turn. We don't want the players to lose their turn, of course, and that's very important for us. So that time is crucial. We cannot put a lot of stuff loading over there. And the user needs to be able to play right away as he installs the game. We can see and we know that other games in the mobile market, they make you wait a lot of time to download content, to do a lot of stuff, huge loadings. No, we just want people to be able to pick up the phone, install the game, and you're playing. The rest is secondary. What we want is you and people and players to play 8-ball pool. And since we also want that, people need to be able to play 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Doesn't matter if we are doing a new version, a new update on the server, it cannot have downtime. Of course, there are exceptions. There were some exceptions in the past, but this is our motto. So we don't want people to be able to stop playing. And now the stories. So now that you know the background, you know what we want to guarantee, I bring you these two stories, which I think they are funny. The first one happened some time ago. At the time, we were very stressed with it. Now we looked into it, and it was kind of funny for us because it was a mistake from our side, let's say it by say. And then the second challenge, which I think it's also very interesting, is how to maintain the audience engaged in a game that already has 10 years. And this might be interesting for you in the future. So, talking about those exploits and that hacks. So, the first thing is that we had a new feature that we built, and that feature was called cushion shot. So basically, we had to put a ball by eating a given cushion, and that cushion would and basically was that. Let's not get into much detail. And what happened is that we actually had an exploit or an hack, or whatever you want to call it, and the people were actually winning games without having to do discussion shot. So how did we spot that this was happening? Actually, community is your friend here, and that's why we keep a close relationship with them, because videos start appearing online where they were showing what was going on. um, People were talking on the social networks that this was happening, and bad reviews start coming in. So these three things are very important to spot that you have an issue in your game, especially if we're talking about hacks. And how did we fix this? Because now you know you have an hack, but you don't know what the hell is going on. Most of the times, and this is the easiest way, is to find the hack. To actually understand how it works, this is the easiest way. We have to find the hack. So here I have a small example where we actually had to find the hacker and get the hack from him. And sometimes we have to play dirty as they play. So, and that's very interesting. So there's where some strategies come in, but we need to protect our game, and we need to make sure that we do everything on our reach in order to make sure that everything is perfect. So here is just an example of some people in my team, some friend connecting with this hacker and trying to get the hack. So as soon as we have the hack, this is more or less the process. The process we actually started to build up inside our team, because at the time this was new for us and we didn't have this knowledge. So after we have the hack found, we had to reverse engineering and understand what actually they did. And we reverse engineered it. And we understood that by comparing it with our application, that they made this method that we had in this new feature disappear. So basically, we had a method called our cushion shots rules enabled for a given tier, and they made it disappear. Well, in Objective C, which was the language where the rules were done at the time, uh, reflection it's something that it's used. So basically, by removing this method, and we were expecting a boolean to come out of it, what it means is that if the method is not there, the default value will be no or a false. So basically, the cushion shot rules were not enabled for that tier. So we knew what they did. They basically released the modified version of our application that cushion shot rules didn't exist. And now you ask, oh, but that's very dumb. You guys should not do it that way. Great, that's how you learn. So now we had two solutions here. So the first solution and the let's see what happens solution was, let's switch the logic. Instead of our rules enabled, we switch to our rules disabled. So if they get rid of the method, what happens is, well, now they always have to play with cushion shots. So it's the opposite. They want the opposite. So let's see what happens if they try it. And then, of course, this was some years ago, we start enforcing all the rules on the server. It doesn't matter what the client says, we need to guarantee that the game plays by the rules that needs to be played. So this was actually the first thing that made us realize that, yes, we are not doing the correct thing, we need to enforce these game rules. So later on, we evolved it even more. We don't no longer use Objective-C for rules. C++ is much harder to hack, and we also enforce everything server side. So it doesn't matter if you modify your app, we still are gonna ignore if you say that it's not a cushion shot game. It is a cushion shot game. This is just an example. So this was the first example. I hope this gives you some information and an overview of how we solve this hack. Of course, nowadays there are much more sophisticated hacks as well, and there are other techniques. Maybe in another presentation I can talk about those as well, because I don't have enough time to talk about everything here. So, but the main takeaway is that we needed to invest more in security. We needed to make sure that our game was more robust and that our community was safe from this kind of people. The second challenge was engaging the audience. And in a game as long as 10 years of life, this is a challenge every day, not only for people that is thinking about the content that needs the game to have, but also how you deliver that content to the game. And that's where we come in as software developers. So some time ago, years ago, what we understood by maintaining the audience engaged was releasing new features, new big features. And we try to do it each 2 months. Sometimes more time, it depends on the time of the feature. But we realize that as the market is shifting to more and more rapidly, and people want to be more and more engaged each day, we realized that we had to move on from these 2 months releases to a weekly, almost daily interaction with the user where they could be always doing something different. So this was a complete change. in our mentality and the way we faced software development and the pool specifically. So we had to do a lot of changes, and that brought a lot of challenges. And some of the challenges that it brought, if we look into a broad perspective, is that if you now have more content, now you have more data. You have more temporary data, data that only matters in a day or a week, and more definitive data, which is data that it matters every single day. And also, inserting that data becomes more time consuming because the more data you have to input, the more time consuming it is, because time is something that you cannot avoid. And also, the more things you got, the more complex it gets. The more complex it gets, the more probability to make mistakes. And also, something that we cannot never forget, with all these, with all more data, all more content, the download times will increase, either by the application size or whatever you ask the user to download later on. So this brings a lot of challenges. At the time where we were building features and not content driven, this was everything done by a developer. Developers are not meant for this. Developers are to build up the product, to build up the software. So we knew we had to change. And I think this emote really explains the sentiment at the time that the developers had. We don't want to be doing this. We don't want to be inserting content. And we knew we had to change. And with that, it appeared the concept for us and the mentality more than anything else, which is the live operations. And what is live operations? Trying to actually go around these challenges that we face and we faced in the past. Nowadays, we face different challenges, which at the time it was a complete shift for us. So the first thing was no, 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 no. Developers no more. Developers should be building the product, and whatever it needs, whatever we need to build up, to give, to put that content in the game and to make it easy. So we wanted to automate it, we wanted to create tools. What is the best way to do that? We prototype. So we created the prototype, and here I bring you a first time you can see this from Miniclip, which is we created a prototype to insert content in the game. So we created this web application where anybody doesn't need to be a developer can go here, and all the tasks that they need to do manually, now it was only one task, and it was on those pages where you could actually configure a new avatar for the game, and so on and so forth. And with this prototype, we actually could solve tasks that were taking hours, and they were very error prone, to sometimes 80% less time than they used to take. And now they were taking a fraction of time. And so we knew we had a winner. We knew that this was the kind of tools that we wanted to build. Not only web tools, it doesn't matter if you're a web tool, but this was the way to go. So by building those tools, we had two things that we wanted to guarantee. Those tools need to be used and be able to be used by non-developers, so they need to be able to be automate tasks behind it, make them not possible to make mistakes most of the times. That's what we aim for. It doesn't mean that we actually could achieve it for everything, but most of the times it needs to be dump proof. The user can put whoever, doesn't matter, put the data and needs to be correct and goes to the game and it's working fine. So we wanted to remove from the point that someone has an idea to put content in the game to the moment it has released, remove developers from the equation. So a new product was born. So a product within a product, and a product now for Miniclip, which is something we called the LiveOps tool. And that LiveOps tool, as I spoke before, was to insert the data, but the data was still immense. And now that now we had the ability to insert the data more easily, so the data will start growing very fast. And we had to change. We had to change our architecture, how we actually, the game was using that data. At the time, we were asking the user to download every single piece of data while they were playing. So it means that they would need to wait around more than 8 minutes to download the entire data for him to see whatever we were wanting to see during that day, that week, that month. And this is much more than we were wanting, because we want the user, after he plays his first match, to be able to see that content. It doesn't make any sense for the game to be, let's say, empty for a lot of time. For 8 minutes, it's a lot of time. So we knew we had to change. So we also changed the mentality. We changed the mentality from a monolithic perspective to an on-demand perspective. So it means that we had to overhaul a lot of our structure in the way we actually faced the technology and how we were doing things in order to make the download. The user would only download what he needs to see, what he actually is going to see. So we had to revamp a lot of our technical solutions, overhauling the way we were seeing content and the game was managing content. And that brought also different challenges. And I bring you a very special challenge to me, because it was the most I think a revolutionary one at the time when we did it, which was, so content for us is all this. So season pass, a tier, a temporary tier, a queue, an avatar, an emote, a sticker for the table, anything that can come to your mind. So this is content. So the user only should download what he actually is going to see, to use, not every single piece. And this was very important for us. And the tiers, which were a group of things which were like tables, assets, images, logos, buttons like this, was a very special challenge. Why? Because tables were actually complex at the time. It was a composed item. As you can see in the top left corner, that was a piece of a table. We were composing in order to reduce size. We were actually thinking wrongly at the time. In order to reduce size, we were trying to split it into smaller assets so we can then flip them and make them work together. So instead of having a huge big asset, we had smaller assets. But actually, this was wrong. And we realized this when we started looking into this. And this brought other issues, which was an artist would export the table, then small glitches could appear because not everything connected very well, and then there was some back and forth, as you can see in this image. So this was a mess. And there were also some constraints to the artist. For example, if you want to flip tables, so they need to be as flip images, then they need to be symmetrical. So you cannot have a table that actually is asymmetrical, which is limiting for creativity. And we wanted to solve all these in one step. So what we did is, now tables are unique assets. So all the tables are unique asset that you see and that the user downloads. And with this is also easier for us to manage, because we know that we all own, when we have this asset downloaded, then this tier is ready to be played. But then there was a challenge, which was, if now the asset is just one, the table is just one asset, how can we make sure that the quality of the game remains the same? Like, for example, as you can see here in this image, like the shadow is not drawn on top of the cushion. That was very important. We didn't want to break immersion. The game needed to look exactly the same. The user could not see anything different. If they see difference, it was for the better, to make it even best, to look greater. And that's what we achieved. So we went through a lot of prototyping and different solutions, and this was the final solution we came up with. We use a clipping node with this red mask that you see here. Is just red so you can see it better. And the balls on top of the table are actually drawn on that clipping mask. So the shadows do not draw on top of the cushions. And that you can see that we can mimic the same as having a cushion on a different plane as the ball. So as you can see, the shadow is perfectly cut in the place that we exactly want. So this is pixel perfect. So the experience should be smooth and perfect. So with this, the mindset that we want from and that we built from all these years of learning, because we are not perfect doing this. We are still evolving. Every day we evolve our tools, our methods of working, in order to make sure that we can build a product that can sustain for the future. But this is what we have to keep in mind. All these things that we're building, it needs to be easy to use and fast to use, It cannot take a lot of time to insert this content. That's counterproductive. The developers should not need to be involved in order to add that content to the game, because there are people that is thinking about that content and they need to be delivered. They need to be able to deliver that content, not the developers. Developers build the tools for them. And most of all, by using that tool, it can also not impact the work. I mean, by inserting some content, it cannot break the game. It cannot break the team's work, let's say. So now that I talked to you about the challenges and I hope you enjoy, I'm going to talk to you about how it is working for Miniclip. And for that, I want to bring you the four values, the four core values that Miniclip has. So the four core values are professionally playful, dare to be different, modest and authentic, entrepreneurial and smart. What does it mean to be professional, playful? As you can see, we build it together. We have fun. We are casual. I don't dress suits, but I can if I want. No matter, doesn't matter. Whatever we want. We are very open for this stuff. We want to be different. We want to be there to be different. We want to be innovative, to try, to be bold, to be experimental. And I think you could see that in my presentation as well. But we are also modest. We are authentic. We know that we have a lot to grow. We know that we have a lot to learn. We have a lot to evolve. But we are also engaged and we want to do it. And we want to make sure that we actually valuable loyalty for our customers and to our people that works for us and with us. We are also entrepreneurial and smart. We grab these opportunities. We make sure we ensure this product is more than 10 years old, and we make sure it's sustainable, that we can build it for the future. We try to not make cut corners, because that will actually cut our long-term success. And now my personal experience as well, as I told you, we actually, Miniclip values the people, and they value because the people is the most important asset you have in a company. Without people, you cannot achieve anything. You cannot replace people with machines. So for us, it's very important that we grow in Miniclip. I joined as a software developer, then I was a lead developer of a team. Now I'm a development lead of teams inside the product. And the same for people that are below me and as my peers and everything. So we want people to grow inside the company. There's a great environment that can be found here, and there are a lot of amazing opportunities. Not even if you want to switch area, that's possible inside Miniclip. There's a lot of people that does that. And in this image, you can find me playing paddle. Miniclip actually gave us some T-shirts to play paddle. We went and as a Miniclip to a tournament, and we played together. So if you enjoy something, Miniclip wants to support you on that as well. So, which is very, very, very nice. We are hiring. We are always hiring. As you can see, a lot of positions open. If you want, you can use this QR code in order to go directly to the job guide and apply for any of those positions. You know how to find us. You can go to our website, to job guide, to LinkedIn, or wherever you want to go. Just go ahead and come work with us and see how amazing this is. So, and thank you. This is what I brought you today. I hope you enjoyed, and see you soon. And let's go for those questions if we have, Ricardo.
Such an amazing presentation. Thank you, Fernando. We have we have we have around 40 viewers in this moment. I don't know if anyone wants to ask anything to Fernando. I think you can also ask some employment questions, because he was so adamantly speaking about working at Miniclip. I think he's open to listening to some questions about it and to answering them. Does anyone want to ask something about Miniclip? Someone that is curious. Someone is saying that they love you. I don't know who there is, but
Oh, thank you, thank you.
you can also say that you love Fernando if you want.
Well, if you want to ask anything about the products, I will tell you everything I can about working in Miniclip. the positions we have open, whatever you want to know. Otherwise, it was great to meet you all.
I can ask you something.
Okay, go ahead, Ricardo.
This moment, Miniclip might be, it is the biggest employer on the video games industry in Portugal. Do you still feel the company growing here in our country?
Yes, we are actually about of changing building because we keep hiring people, we keep growing, uh, we keep evolving. So we didn't have enough space for everybody during COVID in the old building. So we are now moving to a new one so we can even have more people. So to answer your question, yes, we keep growing. We could keep growing in Portugal.
There's someone asking what do you think will be the main challenges for a Miniclip in the next 2 years?
Well, for a Miniclip as a company to keep releasing amazing games, that's always a challenge for a company that launches games, does games, is that to make sure that they are perfect for our audience. And for Pool in specific, which is my reality, it's continue to make this game great. And in 2 years, the product will have 12 years, but we believe we can make our audience even more engaged and give even more people to play because we have a lot of things, a lot of ideas, and that's one of the amazing parts about working in Miniclip is that we never are out of ideas in order to try to make our products even better than they were before and building new products.
We have another question. What positions do you have open, if you recall some of them, and what do you value on new candidates to Miniclip?
I can talk about the software development part. Here are some of the positions that are open for software developers. We are look for people that are engaged, that they love to build video games, um, that they bring value to us, that they want to grow, especially that they want to grow with us, to evolve. They are open to feedback. We want to hear from them as well, and that most of all want to have fun with us because games are about fun, guys, and that's what matters, right? That's why we all love games.
We also have another question. Do you have plans to evolve from mobile and browser to another platforms?
Yes and no. Our main focus is mobile, especially in Miniclip Portugal. It doesn't mean that we cannot explore other platforms, but as I said, since we want to unleash the gamer in everyone, and that's the mission, the device that most people has is a mobile, and we believe that the mobile market is still growing. So that's the best way right now to reach most people. So that's where we are, what we are trying to focus. But it doesn't mean that we cannot go other way or explore other areas or other platforms. Uh, so I think this answers your question.
I have another question. You are I think you're part of the oversight of 8 Pool, which is a successful game for a decade, if I recall your
Mhm.
presentation.
Yeah.
Is that a challenge to keep the people working in a game for as long as this, to keep motivated and keep creative on doing something with a game with 10 years in the market?
Yes, of course. It's 10 years, and I'm working on this product for 7 years. And of course, there's always a challenge here to motivate people to keep working for that amount of time on a product like this. But as you can see, there's a lot of technical challenges that surface every day that we as software developers, I think we all love to sort out these challenges and to make sure that the game is perfect and we are building architectures for the future. And we are also building new stuff for the game, features, not only solving challenges. And that's the engaging part, how we build those features, how we can make them more engaging for the players, how can we make them more fun, what can we do next. We are also always experimenting stuff, and people bring their own ideas as well. Even developers, and that's the most important part because all of us are creatives here and all of us have a voice, and only together we can build the best product we can have. Um, and I think that answers your question.
picking up along the same line, one side,
Mhm.
of course, you answered the great challenge to keep a team motivated, but in a market that is so saturated and so competitive, as all subsegments of video games market are, how do you what has been your secret to keep your public engaged with the game, with a 10-year-old, and also with other games you've been releasing, with such a competitive games around, both in Android or iOS?
I can give you my personal opinion in my experience in Miniclip and in E50. It's by understanding what the people want, what the community wants, and how can we make them even more engaged, and also listen to them. And that's very important because if you want your game to last, then you need to listen to your community. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. But it's mainly that.
Okay, thank you, Fernando. I don't know if anyone wants to ask another question to Fernando, since we have the opportunity to pick his brain about the challenges of a mobile game developer. If not, I think we would like to thank you, Fernando, personally for spending this hour with us. And let me just share again your thank you screen, because we were in another screen.
It's
We
okay.
want to thank you, Fernando, for we have another question before we go, before the curtain falls. How do you communicate and sync up on info with all those people in a team?
We, that's a very interesting question. We have a lot of forums, which is very interesting. We have a lot of forums where we can speak together. We have weekly team meetings where we share what we've been doing. We have meetings with the entire team where we share the results of our product, what we are trying to do, what we want to do. So we always try to engage all these people together. When building features, of course, we have the core team that is working on that feature, and they always interact with each other in trying to achieve the best feature possible. And then, also, of course, they also include the rest of the product because only together we can build this up. So we have a lot of different mechanisms in order to make sure that everybody is connected with everybody that needs to be, and in order to build this. Well, I can spend 30 minutes talking about all those mechanisms. But if you want to know more, join us because I'm very glad to show you how we do it.
Okay, we have two more questions. Are you open as a team for out of the box ideas for current games you have? And the real king is asking you, do you use Scrum?
Yeah, we do use Scrum for our development teams and to build up the product. And the other question was,
If you are open as a team for out of the box ideas for current games you already have.
yes, of course. Some ideas that we build on the game, they came from the people inside the team. And actually, every year we do hackathons in Miniclip where everybody has 2 days to explore whatever they want. If they want to build new games, they build new games. If they want to build features for the game, so whatever, you're free. And then you present it to the company.
Okay. Let me give you. I know we have some small delay, so let me ask. Does anyone want to ask another question to Fernando? Let's see if not, I'm going to resume my thing. We like personally to thank you, Fernando, for spending this hour with us and showing us how is your work inside Miniclip and the challenges you face in on a daily basis. Um, as the IndieX organization, we also want to thank both Miniclip and you for supporting us during this year. I hope when we return to the physical editions, we will be able to be together and to have Miniclip there and showing what you've been doing. You're a case of success, of course, in our landscape. And then again, thanks, Fernando. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for your presentation. If all of you that are watching on that side, we're going to return for, I think it's IndieX 2021 last talk uh, in 10 minutes. And don't forget, later at 10 p.m., it's our ceremony, our award ceremony. So stay tuned. Thanks again, everyone, and see you all later.
Thank you.